Welcome back to 5 for 5. Now, what type of a literature show would this be if we didn't include a little bit about the greatest playwright of all time, William Shakespeare? Fact is that the themes of his plays are timeless and universal, and that's why they're still being performed on stages the world over. And it's only natural that some of them would be adapted to film. And we're going to be ranking for you the top 5 film adaptations of Shakespearean plays. Romeo and Juliet is without a doubt Shakespeare's most famous play, and it also happens to be the play that has been adapted to film the most times. Now, if you've ever seen West Side Story, you'll realize that it is actually nothing more than a modern adaptation of Romeo and Juliet.
West Side Story is credited for injecting the thematic element of race into the Romeo and Juliet storyline. A modernized musical take of Romeo and Juliet, this 1961 Best Picture Oscar winner chronicles the love between Maria of the Sharks Gang and Tony of the rival Jets Gang. The film won 10 Academy Awards in its 11 nominated categories, and the soundtrack made more money than any other album before it.
Akira Kurosawa is a Japanese director who is to Japanese film what Shakespeare is to English literature, and a combination of the two results in something amazing. Throne of Blood is a movie from 1957, which is essentially an adaptation of the Shakespearean tragedy Macbeth.
This beautiful black and white film stars Japanese acting legend Toshiro Mifune as Lord Taketori, who at the behest of his wife kills a close friend in a plot to become emperor. Even with the removal of the Macduff character, it's regarded by many critics as one of the best film adaptations of Macbeth.
Today's reverence for Shakespeare in Hollywood started in 1989 when Kenneth Branagh released Henry V.
Some cinema scholars credit Branagh with being the first director truly to mime Shakespeare's commercial potentials. Henry V received near-universal critical acclaim for Branagh's Oscar-nominated performance and direction, for the accessibility of its Shakespearean language, and particularly for its music.
Here at number 2, we have another brilliant version of Henry V, only this time it's a movie from 1944. Now, this movie comes in just ahead of Kenneth Branagh's because it is a more stylized and glorified version of Henry V's conquest.
Branagh's Henry V is only barely overshadowed by the 1944 version, starring and directed by Laurence Olivier. It's the story of the newly crowned King of England who fights the French for possession of Normandy. Olivier made a graceful patriotic movie commissioned by the British government to boost morale during World War II, possibly the most iconic film portrayal of Shakespeare in history.
More than 2 decades after The Throne of Blood, the world saw another brilliant Akira Kurosawa and William Shakespeare co-production. This time he adapted King Lear into a movie called Ran.
28 years after Throne of Blood, Akira Kurosawa one-upped himself with his adaptation of King Lear. It's considered by many to be one of the best Shakespeare-based films, and also one of the best films of all time. Ran depicts a kingdom falling into chaos when its lord steps down to allow his 3 sons to rule. The characteristically artful cinematography of Kurosawa is complemented by a powerful and painterly use of color.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid that's all we have for you this week. But we'll be back again next week with a whole new bundle of Top 5. Now, don't forget, you can get in touch with us by writing into us at 5for5@dawnnews.tv with any comments, suggestions, or lists that you like on the show. Until next time, live long and prosper. I'll see you next week.